Right, we are back with the Running That Number podcast. Very, very special guest today. Club captain and testimonial year, Matty Lees. How you doing, pal?
Hey mate, thanks for having me on.
I appreciate your time, mate. Start off, take it straight back to the beginning. What's your first memory of rugby league?
Oh, first memory of rugby league, probably, takes me back to Rochdale. That's where I'm from. Born in Oldham, lived in Rochdale most of my life. Grew up there. Started playing rugby. I was probably around 5 years old. We were just going on a walk with mum and dad and the local playing field. There was one of the first sessions called a club called Milner Cobras at the time. Ended up jumping in a short session there. We were starting off a new team, and then just got the buzz from it straight away. That then progressed into clubs coming into school, things like that. Got involved with it at school. Milner then wanted to get more players, and then they signed like a little age group and set up from there. That then took me on to playing for Rochdale Mayfield. It was a real difficult choice I made at the time. I remember it like it was yesterday, telling my Milner Cobras coach that I was moving on to, which was a better, bigger, established club at the time called Rochdale Mayfield. So he was absolutely heartbroken, and real tough decision at the time to do such a young age. And then progressed through Rochdale Mayfield. Had a great amateur career. Missed out on scholarship at 15. Ended up getting a phone call later on that year. I was absolutely gutted. All my mates were playing for Wigan, St Helens, getting picked up for Leeds, Bradford. Ended up getting a phone call from Salford at the time. Ended up at Salford on a 2-week trial. And then whilst on that 2-week trial, ended up getting picked up for Bradford full time at 16. So that was my first involvement, being a professional in a professional environment at Bradford. And then that obviously leads us on to St Helens and getting picked up for St Helens. I remember playing St Helens in a scholarship match and hit the halfback a few times for Bradford. Rob Fairclough it was. Hit him a few times, stood out in that game, did 80 minutes, and St Helens coming for me.
Yeah, so for the longest time, I thought you were like a local lad from the area, but obviously when I went to the event beginning of the year, we found out different. But being from Oldham, a lot of really world class players come from there, like your Barry McDermott, Kevin Stinfield, and all that. Is there any players that you looked up to growing up?
Yeah, you know what? I probably wasn't interested in watching rugby on TV until I was probably around 13, 14 when I made the jump to Rochdale Mayfield. My coach at the time was a massive Wigan fan. So there was always the Saints Wigan thing going on there. But yeah, my dad was sort of steering me towards supporting St Helens. We got involved with watching St Helens early on. Ended up, is not a St Helens player, but like Sam Burgess, other middles like that, yeah. James Graham, who was a St Helens player, and just really admired the way they went about the business. And I was all for the big hits when I was younger. That's all I used to look for. I wasn't bothered about the tries. Just used to look at the big tackles and scuffles at the time. I used to love watching them on YouTube, highlights of fights and people getting stuck into each other. I just love that side of the game.
Yeah, but the way you run into the line, you've still got that. You're still like putting people on the backsides.
Yeah, it's that like I say, that's something I've always looked up to when I was young, and I've not really changed the way I've played since, and that's led me on the path to where I am today. So obviously we've had to tidy up my game a little bit. You can't be doing late tackles anymore. So, but yeah, love that physicality side of the game, and that's the type of player I am. That's always who I am going to be.
Yeah, it's kind of what you expect from a prop forward, and it'd be the hard runs and doing the dirty work, as you say.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's the bit we all love to do, and that's our job. I think as a middle forward, not shy away from the tough stuff, and that's always what I've based my game off. You know, playing tough
Yeah,
and working hard for my mates.
yeah. So if I've done my research right, your debut for Saints on the 7th of September 2017 away at Wakefield.
Yeah, that was again. It was like it happened yesterday, and I can't believe I'm in my 10th season already. It's flown by. But yeah, I remember getting the call off Justin at the time. I was in college doing my electrical engineering apprenticeship, and got the call at the beginning of the week, and it was Justin saying, you know, we're looking at playing you this week, and straight away I was buzzing, but also knew what such a big challenge it was. You know, we were playing Wakefield away, and that was our chance to get into the playoffs. I think that year, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah, around that time would have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was to get into the top four or the top six, whatever it was at that time. So it was a really important game from us. We were just sitting outside that. But yeah, straight away, I just remember being made up and got the phone call. You know, couldn't wait to tell mum and dad. You know, they've been on such a big journey with me through starting off at Milner Cobras, Rochdale, Bradford. You know, basically been around everything I've done, and took me to the different clubs I've been at. But yeah, got memories from that game. Probably, I always say it. You probably heard me say it at that beginning forum. But running into Craig Ewby, thinking I was still playing academy, and he
Yeah.
absolutely, you know, he probably weighs
Yeah, he's
twice.
a bit of a tank, that fella, isn't he?
Yeah, he was twice the size of me at the time. Probably weighed twice as much as me as well. But that probably leveled me out straight away. I thought, you know,
Yeah.
you build up you build up a lot of confidence over the years playing academy and getting better, and you know, you end up being the oldest in that age group at academy. And you end up just being able to run through people. You know, at the time there was a lot of younger lads, and yeah, it definitely leveled me out a bit playing that game. And to be fair, I knew I was miles off. You know, leaving the field, I thought I've really got to rip in here now and rip into my training and make sure I'm in the picture for the year after, because that was the only game I played that year.
Yeah. And you mentioned the year after you went on dual reg to Sheffield, played a handful of games for them, but still managed 19 appearances at Saints.
Yeah, that 2018 year was something that I probably needed as well. On the back of playing for St Helens in that game the year before the end of the year, I was hungry, obviously, for more appearances. But yeah, I remember Justin. Was that 20? Yeah, Justin saying to me, "Look, I'm going to take you on loan at Sheffield. You're going to go and play a few games for them." And I was gutted, but I knew it was going to be the right thing for me. It was the best chance to get game time. It was best off playing for a championship side than playing for a reserve side. So, yeah, it was tough to hear that, because I probably thought, oh, I'm going to be in here now. Now I've played my first game. Had a really good pre-season, and again that probably made me realise that I'm still quite far off. And went to play for Sheffield. Had a great time there under Mark Aston, and Keith Senior was there as well at the time. And yeah, really enjoyed my time there. And again, plenty of learning happened through that period. You know, playing against a lot of bigger blokes. You know, yeah, like real physical sides in the championship. So that put me in good stead for the rest of the year. And obviously got my chance when, unfortunately, Big Al got his neck injury, and then I was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you go on these dual reg and it's like minutes in the legs and, you know, experience. So it's gonna work out best anyway, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's part of the journey, you know, and I think it's important that a lot of lads who come through, you know, they go to the championship and they play them sort of games, like the real physical games, and lads go after you because they know that you're a Super League player as well. You know, they want to prove themselves against you and almost bully you a little bit. But again, I learned a lot from going there, and that just made me hungrier to get back and rip in for Saints then.
Yeah, it makes sense. So the following year, you missed out on the grand final through it was a bowel injury, wasn't it? But somehow
Yeah, yeah,
you still managed to get Young Player of the Year. How did that feel?
yeah, yeah. Bittersweet again. It's I was absolutely heartbroken at the time. I thought I was having a really good year, building confidence. Justin had us playing some really good rugby through that year, and yeah, and ended up. It was a couple of weeks before the final, the Challenge Cup final, and I remember playing Leeds away, and then ended up getting tackled off Brett Ferris. Thought I, I thought I did a rib or hurt my side in some way, and ended up getting off the pitch and just got a really sick feeling. And yeah, everyone, I've spoke about this before, but yeah, from then on, obviously I was in hospital for a good amount of time. 2 weeks I was in hospital with a ruptured bowel. So absolutely gutted. I remember watching the boys run out at Wembley and thought, that should have been me, and I should have been out there helping them, but unfortunately got that injury.
No, so I mean, you did help in the build up towards that. You know what I mean? So it's you did play your part. So you went on to play in another 3 grand finals. Won a Challenge Cup and won a World Club Challenge. Is there any games in that 4 year spell that like really stand out to you?
Yeah, they all tell their own story. People ask me this. What's your best memory? What's your best trophy you've won? And I've got to pinch myself sometimes because we've been a part of some special memories. But probably that 2020 grand final stands out for me a little bit, just with missing the 2019 one. I never thought we'd be able to get back to it and win. And I always remember Johnny Lomax taking his time to, have a chat with me to one side whilst obviously celebrating that they'd won the grand final in 2019, and he promised me that we'd get back to another final in 2020 just for me. And part of me was like, oh, thanks, but part of me thought, yeah, we're not going to do that. Like it's been so many years since we've been in a final, and never mind win one. But yeah, we got there and we got the job done, didn't we? With that special memory with Jack scoring under the sticks. So that's a massive standout game for me. But yeah, playing at Wembley, I'm spoiled for choice really. But the World Cup Challenge, that was probably one of the best memories I'll ever have, and something I'll cherish forever. Great 3 weeks in Australia, but on top of that, we got the job done and turned a great Penrith side over on their home ground. So that's probably a big standout for me.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Just to touch on that 2020 final again, I mean, it was weird for us watching it with no one there and like piped in crowd noise and all that. Was it like actually playing? Because like we know the crowd can be the 14th man on the pitch at times, but like to play that kind of game, like, and credit to Wigan as well. Without that, I mean, how did that go? I mean, I know you had it all season, but in a final,
it was crazy because when playing the game, you sort of just blank out the noise anyway. But it was really people shouting from different teams and shouting what players are on, or you could hear everything. You could hear a pin drop, and it was a really strange atmosphere. But when Jack scored the try, it was like the crowds did erupt when it happened. It was like there was a noise there, but there weren't. Yeah, it was a really, really strange experience. But as a group, you're just sort of in that bubble together, and that's probably why it made it so special as well, because we've just been around each other all the time. You couldn't spend any time with anyone else outside of training and outside our sort of protective bubble. So it was closer than ever that year. And obviously James Graham, legend of the game and legend of St Helens, to sort of do that for him as well. That tops it off as well.
I was going to say probably the voice you heard the most in that game would have been Jammers.
Yeah. I remember him coming off actually, because he'd been doing some big stints throughout the year, and I was on the bench and Jammer started, and I think he come off after like 14 minutes or something ridiculous. and I had to go on there till half time. But yeah, I was so nervous and scared for my first final, and I thought, if these come off struggling, like what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I think it was tough. It was a tough stint, but we got through it and we got the job done.
Yeah, it was a mad season altogether, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Go on to the quarter final from last year at Edinley. Now, we obviously won that in some fashion, but what was the mindset of the playing group in the last 5 minutes in that game, where like it was all we just didn't know what was going to happen?
Yeah, it's it was crazy, mate. But like I say, you've just got to stick together, haven't you? You know, when it's toughest, you know, we've just got to back ourselves. And I think the group we had, it's just such a special group. You know, everybody worked hard for each other and just did their job. I think that's the main thing to take from it.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, it was mad enough for us in the stand, but I mean, can't imagine what it'd be like on the pitch. You know, Well's running on, and there's just chaos everywhere.
Yeah, it's it shows how passionate, you know, he was as a coach. You know, and we've got some great memories with Wello, and but yeah, he's St Helens through and through, and that passed on to us guys. You know, seeing how happy he was, you know, it just meant so much to him.
Yeah, especially with how certain things went through the season, the way he got criticised and all that. It was good for him to have that moment.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, it couldn't have gone any better. I know we would have liked to have done it comfortably, but you know, that's what makes rugby league so exciting.
Yeah, it does. 2022, you get your senior England call up. Talk us through like getting that call up and how that felt for you.
Yeah, you know, it probably tops it all off, doesn't it? Playing for your country, like
Yeah,
it probably means so much to me and my family. You know, to be able to pull on that shirt for your country, it's a really special moment. But again, I remember working so hard in that 2021 year to get put in the picture for the All Stars game, what we had in 21. And I missed out on that one. And then I think we played them in 22 again, and I managed to get picked for that 22 game in the All Stars. So that was sort of like my England debut almost. And then I just remember thinking I have to play well because I need to be in the picture for the World Cup here. You know, to be part and play for England, it's really special. But to play in the World Cup, it's even better. You know, and again, great memories from that. You know, we started off the World Cup really well, and we beat Samoa, and managed to get quite a bit of game time. Missed out on the squad that year with, you know, Wayne didn't pick me. You know, he told me the reasons why, and I remember just being hungrier again for that season after. So it helped me definitely.
no, see, I mean, it's how you react to things like that, isn't it? Where like you don't get bits like, right, I need to work on this, that, and the other. I'm getting in next time.
Yeah, you know, and Sean Wayne, like what a great coach he is. You know, real honest bloke, and that's what I loved about him. You know, he was straight up and told me what I needed to work on, and I'm not the type of person to blame other reasons why. You know, I look at myself all the time, and yeah, I just wanted to work on those bits, and managed to get a starting spot again for the Tonga series off the back of that in the end of 2023. So that again was a special moment for me, and I was determined to get that starting spot.
Yeah, and obviously last year you were picked in the Ashes squad as well, and made a really good account of yourself in those games.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was a really tough series that, and for everything what happened, you know, with Al fracturing my eye socket in that non-contact session. You know, it was always there's always a bit of drama around that. But to play at Wembley, you know, in an Ashes series, you know, again a pinch me moment, and yeah, but you know, you throw on that jersey and you're ready to go to war, aren't you? And that's what we were like. And
Yeah,
Sort of seeing the Aussie team in front of you, it was, you sort of put them on a pedestal, don't you? Like we all do. You watch them on TV week in, week out, and you think they're better than they are, but as soon as we were kicked off 10 minutes in, you realise that they're only human, and we were better. We were better for that loss at Wembley. I thought we should have beat them, shouldn't we, at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, but unfortunately we missed out. But yeah, great honour to represent my country as always. But even in an Ashes series, I think I played nearly 10, 11 times for England and never played Australia or New Zealand once. So to finally play against the Aussies, it was really special.
Yeah, you want to test yourself against the absolute best, don't you? So the end of last season, Johnny Lomax hands you the captain armband. I mean, how did that feel?
Yeah, probably. You sort of had like a bit of imposter syndrome. Like you feel like it shouldn't be you, But the way it was dealt with, Johnny passing me the armband, it was again a special moment for me and my family. But also there's a lot of challenges what come with that as well. I know how difficult it had been for Johnny, with the captaincy and how well he'd done over the years. I've always seen Johnny as a captain, even when Robes was captain, if that makes sense. Like we're a team full of leaders, and there's that many people.
Johnny was more of a talker, weren't he? Whereas like Robes did it by example.
Yeah, of course. And Johnny's had an unbelievable career, and he's been the best. But I always remember coming through as a young kid. Like you looked at Johnny, you looked at Robes, you looked at John Wilkin. Like there's endless leaders. Like you could give that to, but like I say, for him to pass me that over, really special moment, especially with what happened in 2019 when I missed out with injury in that final. And yeah, Johnny promised me that we get there again. So real emotional moment, but again, there's a lot of challenges what come with it, and hopefully I can just do something special with that, and win some silverware. That's my main goal.
Yeah, it's a real show of like respect and professionalism for him to just go, "This is yours."
Yeah, and I think it'd been playing on his mind for a while, and I think for him to get that off his chest as well and wanted to hand it over to me, it made it even more special. He's one of my best mates off the field, and yeah, like I say, I just want to do my best with it and leave it in a good place for the next person. Look at the legends who have worn it. Johnny, Robes, Wello, John Wilkin. Like there's endless names on that captain armband, and if I could even be like a small percentage of what they've done and done for this club, I've been made up.
Yeah, I'll take it from me, and I can speak for every Saints fan and say you've more than earned it. Been awarded the testimonial year. So how does that come around? Do you have to want to do it, or do they just go, "This is your testimony here. Do you want to do it?"
Yeah, it's something the RFL do. I think with when you've been there 10 years or my 10th season at the club, they give you the option to do that. And I just thought it's a great way to celebrate, spending such a long period of time at a club. Not only to celebrate me, but everybody else who is involved. I wanted to share that experience with everyone. So, trying my best to get everybody involved as much as I can. With the events, and like I say, Morgs did a great job last year with playing. But I just it's good to celebrate that. But now I'm playing back from injury. I just really want to focus on doing my best for the team, and like I say, to win something at the end of it, be amazing. But yeah, don't shy away from spending 10 years at a club. It is really special.
Yeah, so I mean, it got to the most unfortunate of the starts. The injured first outing of the season. But it was great to have you back a bit earlier than we expected.
Yeah, it's a few weeks early, to be honest. I probably should have only been coming back now for this York game. So, yeah, the games got quicker, so I felt a bit underdone out there the last couple of games, but I'm hoping to find a bit of form again and get my lungs back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game's definitely gone a lot quicker since I last played it last year.
Yeah. So you get match fit by playing matches, don't you? Just going to throw a few little random questions at you. Who's the toughest player you've ever played against?
Or played against.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot here. A
I know there's a
standout.
lot of them. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean like hard, or thought about like in terms of skill or power or speed, or
Yeah.
whichever one's the toughest for you.
Yeah. Toughest player. Edwin Apape, he's a tough player.
Yeah.
He's always someone you're always wary of. Someone who's going to hurt you. I'd probably say him. Every time you're playing him, you're in for a tough battle. Especially over the last couple of years, we've had some tough games against Lee, haven't we?
Yeah, because then you've played against Australia 3 times. That's saying a lot for him as well, to be honest.
Yeah, it's I put him up there. He's one of the toughest players. No disrespect to Australia, but yeah, it's he's a tough player.
Yeah. So, lad who normally does the podcast with me, Ben, he couldn't make it, but the question he likes to ask players is, who's the unsung hero at Saints, or the most underrated player that you've played with?
Ever?
Yeah, ever.
Yeah. I'd probably say me good mate Morgan Knowles, who left last year. A bit biased. He's one of my best mates, but I'd probably say everything he did week in, week out, on that pitch.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get noticed some years. I know last year he had an unbelievable season, didn't he? But and really stood out. But I think the last 10 years before that, I'd say he was definitely the unsung hero. He's someone the team value. I know, definitely feel more comfortable when he's by my side, knowing that he's going to do all the stuff that most of the fans won't see.
Yeah.
Someone we look at in video, and he sort of does all the hard work behind the scenes almost.
Yeah. So we sit it watching him week in, week out, but like obviously to the rest of the league, it's just making a tackle or making a tackle burst or whatever. But we saw those little 1% that he did.
Yeah, and that's something we're really big on. It's when I first come in the first team, Justin was really big on 1%ers, and it's sort of carried on through our DNA. All them little efforts like kick chasing, kick pressures, the little bits when people are watching the ball. That them are the bits what we pride ourselves on as a club, and I think we're getting that back now. I think we stayed away from it a little bit, but I'm adamant we try and get that back this year.
Yeah, just a couple more. I think I might know the answer to this, not being a Saints fan, but obviously I know you can't tell any stories. I wouldn't expect you to, but who's the biggest joker and pranker that you've had the pleasure of sharing a dressing room with?
Yeah, everyone knows the answer to that. It's probably going to be Louis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Louis was,
It's got to be Louis, isn't it?
Yeah. But to be fair now, I Curtis Heron, and he's a bit of a joker. Paired with Matt Percival, them two are a good laugh at training. But yeah, I'd definitely say Louis tops it all. I still see him now. You can hear him, can't you, before you see him?
Oh yeah, I was at the footy game last week. I was in God. You could hear them all over the place. So he's not changed since retiring.
Yeah.
And the last one. What's the best bit of advice anyone's given you in the game of rugby league?
Oh, it's tough on this because every coach has a different way of coaching.
Yeah.
Whether that's about detail or it's about the way you are. I've always been told, obviously, to clean a few bits out of my game, but probably the best bit of advice I could give someone, which probably just never give in. If you're a young kid coming through, just don't give up on that dream. There's plenty of people now about who can prove that it can happen at any time. Look at Matty Ashton. If you miss out on scholarship, I did, or the academy, or signing another contract at a big club, just never give up with that. There's a lot of living proof now that it can happen any time. And like I say, my good mate Matty Ashton from Rochdale, Mayfield, he's killing it now for Warrington and England, but he come out of nowhere, didn't he? Played a couple of good games.
He was Swindon, wasn't he?
And went through for that. So that's not advice I've had, but advice I'd give to people out there. Definitely, don't give in on that dream.
Yeah, it was like Big Al as well. He came through late as well, didn't he? Or the Batley, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's another one. Yeah, he's another one who did the same. So it can happen at any moment.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that wraps up. So congratulations on the testimonial year. Everyone keep supporting him, and get down to the events when you can. Really appreciate your time, mate. I know you've got a young family there at home ready to cause chaos everywhere. You need to sort that out. So I really appreciate your time, mate. Thanks very much.
No, thank you, mate. It's got me out of dad duties for 45 minutes. So
there you go. Yep. So I'll be back with Ben. It's my pleasure, mate. Really.